Welcome to the Barbershop Breakdown. It's your man Roscoe Squeeze off with another sports edition of the Barbershop Breakdown. Today I want to talk about a great barbershop question. I've had this debate many a times. It is, who is the better player between the hypothetical question of who is the better player between Stephen Curry, and Allen Iverson. So AI versus Steph Curry. Now, I've heard it all type of ways. I'm just going to only be able to tell you from my point of view right now, being that I am undebated in this post to you guys. I'm going with Stephen Curry, and I'm going to explain to you why. Now, people always say, Allen Iverson didn't have the talent that Steph has around him, and that may be true in the pros. And Allen Iverson didn't do well with talent. Allen needed to be in a system where you put a bunch of defensive players around him, spot-up shooters, defensive players. He has the ball in his hand the whole entire time. And that's the team he took to the championship with Philadelphia against the Lakers when they lost to the Lakers. And it was just an Allen Iverson show while these guys watched and played a ton of defense. Because he needs the ball in his hand. He's not going to shoot a high percentage. He's just going to, what's his nickname? Bubba Chuck, as they called him in Virginia. He's just going to chuck the ball. That's what he does. And Steph Curry has the ability to play on or off the ball. He can spot up shoot. He can run off screens. He can dribble and take a shot. He has one of the best dribbles ever. He has the ability to do whatever you need him to do. So we know the championship thing. And being it's a team award, I will not hold it against Allen Iverson that Steph Curry has 3. He has none. Now, Steph Curry has played 10 seasons. Allen Iverson played 14. Playoffs, Steph has been in 6 playoff years. And Allen Iverson went to 8. Steph Curry is obviously not over, and he'll do more. All-Star games. Steph Curry went to 6. Allen Iverson went to 11. So we know Allen Iverson has 1 MVP. Steph Curry had 2, the back-to-back. Plus, he has the only unanimous MVP in history. First team All-NBA. Steph Curry had 2 seasons like that, which was his 2 MVP seasons. Allen Iverson had 3 of those. Once again, Steph Curry's career is not over. All NBA teams, not just first team, but it's all teams together. Steph Curry has 5, Allen Iverson has 7. Scoring leader, Steph Curry led the league in scoring once, Allen Iverson did it 4 times. Steals leader, Steph Curry did it once, Allen Iverson did it 3 times. And then rookie of the year, Steph Curry was not rookie of the year, Allen Iverson was. Now, through their career, Allen Iverson averaged 26.7 points. Steph Curry's averaged 23.5. Allen Iverson averaged 3.7 rebounds, and he averaged 6.2 assists, where Curry bested him in both of those so far, 4.5 in rebounds and 6.7 in assists. Steals, he got the edge, 2.2 to 1.7 for Allen Iverson, and blocks per game, they're the same, 0.2. All right, so I go over these stats, and really, to me, the scoring doesn't mean as much, even though Allen Iverson is leading there. I look at the actual field goal percentages. Field goal percentage. Steph Curry has a career field goal percentage of 4.79. .479. And Allen Iverson is .425. Also, 3-point percentage. Steph Curry is unprecedented. .438, which is ridiculous for the amount of shots he takes. Allen Iverson averaged .313, which is a world of difference in those guys shooting 3-pointers. And then on top of that, even, you may say, well, that's Steph's thing. What even free throws? As much as Allen Iverson got to the line, he was a .78, a 78% free throw shooter. Steph Curry is 90%, .905. So, now, when I tell you these numbers, it's just so you get an idea of actual numbers, because so many people want to be numbers-based and things of that nature. I see these numbers, and the number one numbers I look at is the actual percentages, because Allen Iverson had a green light. Steph Curry has a somewhat of a green light. He has a green light, definitely, but he has to share that spotlight with a lot of other players, a lot of other, pretty much Hall of Famers, Steph and Durant and Thompson, even Draymond to some degree. he has to share that rock and share that responsibility of scoring. And he doesn't even have to be, he is the leading scorer in his team, but doesn't have to be on a nightly basis because Thompson can light it up, and we all know Durant is one of the best scorers in the history of the game. Allen Iverson's responsibility on his team was to score each and every night because that's the only type of player he could be around. And people always say he had to. That's because it's the only type of player he could be around. When he put him with Chris Webber, they didn't mesh. When you put him with Carmelo Anthony, it didn't mesh. They did have one half decent season in Denver there, but that didn't last long. He had to be in a situation where the ball is constantly in his hand at all times, and by that being the case, you can only play with a certain type of player. That means you need to play with guys who do not want the ball. Aaron McKees, Eric Snow. He didn't do so well with Larry Hughes. He needed to be in a situation where he has the ball, he does all the shooting, he decides when he wants to pass, if he wants to pass, if he's ever going to pass, because it's kind of like what's going on in Houston right now with the Beard. The Beard is great and he's lighting it up. But he is dribbling the ball 14 seconds out of every 24-second shot clock. And yeah, he's scoring, but you got a lot of guys just, on his team that's just taking snapshots and pictures right now. So, well, we'll see if that can pan out. Kobe Bryant just came out yesterday and said he doesn't think that can be sustained through the playoffs. Because if you're just at the top of the key holding the ball, a defense can account for that. And we've seen he's had his playoff woes before. But back to the point at hand. In the playoffs, let me get these back. Well, let me just pull these numbers back here for you. In the playoffs, the numbers were pretty much similar. Allen Iverson 29.7 points per game. Steph Curry 26.7. Steph Curry bested him in rebounds and assists again. 5.2, 3.8 for rebounds, and then 6.4 to 6.0 for assists. Steals. Allen Iverson got the lead there, 2.1 to 1.7, and blocks per game. Steph Curry 0.3, Allen Iverson 0.2. Neither one of them going to block a lot, even though Allen Iverson was woefully more athletic than Steph Curry. But neither one of those guys are going to block a lot. Both of those guys were on the ball liabilities defensively because of their size. Even though Allen Iverson was a much better athlete, but scoring wise, I just think the flow of the game is so much better with Steph Curry. And people say it's the system. And I understand, yes, that plays a part. Allen Iverson could not have played in this system because he's not a good shooter. In the playoffs, he averaged 40%, 0.401. Steph Curry, 0.452, which is a lot better. Curry in the playoffs, for three-pointer, is 0.408, 40%. Allen Iverson, 0.327. 32%. You know what I mean? You may say, how much is that? That's a big difference. And if you take for every 100 shots, that's a lot more 3-pointers being hoisted in there. You see what I'm saying? That's another, take if you just do 8 more shots, 8 more 3-pointers, that's another 24 points there per 100 shots. Which once again, Allen Iverson's thing was not threes, but he took his fair share of them, and then he missed a lot of regular field goal percentage. And you might say he had a lot of contested shots. That was by choice. He was a contested shot maker. He took a lot of contested shots, kind of like Kobe, and T-Mac. A lot of these guys didn't wait around for the system, didn't run off screens, didn't just run around and pull up with jumpers. They ran, and they shot. You know what I'm saying? He dribbled in front of guys for 15 seconds, made his move, drove to the hole, took a foul, pulled up for jumpers in traffic. That is what Allen Iverson did. He was a contested shot maker, and he made some of the greatest shots. That's what excited all of us. That's why we all loved him. The last time I felt like really going outside and playing basketball after watching a game at nighttime was Allen Iverson in the playoffs against the Lakers. I watched that game, was like, wow. When he dropped, I think, 50, and that game when he famously stepped over top of Tyronn Lue when he made that shot on him, hey, I was pumped. But that being said, Curry is the better player. And here's where, and this is what I tell guys all in the barbershop, and they argue with me. But I always say, if you were to take Curry, switch him with the Allen Iverson team of 2001, I believe it was, when they played the Lakers, and you took Allen Iverson and put him on any one of these teams with the Warriors, I honestly think the Warriors wouldn't be as good. They may be could be possibly slightly better defensively, But without his ability to stretch, Curry's ability to stretch that defense by, you have to guard him at half court. That changes the whole dynamics. And then when you just have Klay Thompson and these guys, and even Durant has the same situation he had with Russell Westbrook now, because you got a guy just holding the ball, pissed off to the side because he won't give you the ball. You got Thompson just stand over in the corner growing tree roots in the ground because Allen Iverson's just dribbling the ball. I think it would mess up the whole fluidity of that offense. Now, I think Steph Curry, believe it or not, could do well with Philly. I think he could carry him the same way. And people say, well, how do I know this? Because Allen Iverson played at Georgetown in college and played with a team that the whole entire starting five and 2 of the players off the bench all went to the NBA. Steph Curry played at Davidson, where all those guys have desk jobs now. None of those guys played overseas. None of those guys play in the lower leagues of the NBA, G League, any of that kind of stuff. None of those guys play. I don't know if those guys play at YMCA right now. Those guys have desk jobs, and Steph Curry took them to the Elite Eight. You know what I'm saying? He can play on a team where he can carry him if he has to. He can also, his dribble and his passing ability gets guys open shots, gets some layups. He's an unselfish player, and he can light it up when he has to. I mean, I would love to hear what you guys think about this. I think I've made a clear case just by the numbers. Allen Iverson was Bubba Chuck. And I love the guy. Some of the most exciting plays ever from a little man. And I'm a short dude, so I love a dude 6 foot that's jumping in there with the trees. But I appreciate what Steph Curry is doing, how he opens up the court. One of the best analogies I heard, and I apologize, I don't remember which TV analyst said this, but they said Steph Curry does to a defense what Shaq did to a defense, but the opposite. They said Shaquille O'Neal compressed the defense where guys had wide open shots because the defense had to compress into the paint because of how dominant he was. Steph Curry does the same thing, but you stretch the defense. So you get guys shots and you get guys lanes to cut to the hole because you stretch it. Guys have to play all the way to half court, and they have to follow you nonstop no matter where you go on the court because you can shoot it from anywhere. And I just think his winning throughout his career would have happened anywhere. I think his winning in college proved that because he played with a bunch of guys who have desk jobs. Nobody knew who those guys are. And I think Allen Iverson always had shortcomings because of his style of play and the ability and the propensity to need the ball in his hand at all times. Made it hard and difficult to play with him. You could not put good talent with him because you're going to be pissed off because there's only one basketball. Where Steph Curry does not need the ball. Just like Klay Thompson does not need the ball. Those guys catch, boom. Klay Thompson had a game where he scored 60 points and they said he had the ball in his hand a total of, I think it was like 3 minutes or something like that. Or not even 3 minutes, 2 minutes and some change for like the whole entire game. If you add up all the seconds, the ball was in his hand. And he dropped 60 points. So Steph Curry has that same ability to do that same thing. So I think that makes a world of difference. He's a better player, can play different ways. Allen Iverson's a much better athlete, world-class athlete. Steph Curry is the everyday Joe, just with great dribbling skills and shooting skills. So I'd love to hear what you guys think about it. Please check. I'll put it up on the website, on our Facebook page, because I love this. I want to put the little poll up. I would love to see what you guys think. Look forward to talking to you about some more sports. Have you ever thought about starting your own podcast? When we were trying to get this podcast off the ground, we had a lot of questions. How do we record an episode? How do we get our show on all the apps that people will listen to? How do we make money off of our podcast? The answer to every one of these questions is really simple. Anchor. Anchor is a one-stop shop for recording, hosting, and distributing our podcast. Best of all, it's 100% free and ridiculously easy to use. And now Anchor can match you with some great sponsors who want to advertise on your podcast. That means you can get paid to podcast right away. In fact, that's what I'm doing right now by reading you this ad. Anchor, we started almost about a year ago, and it's been a godsend. Like I said, it's a one-stop shop for everything. You don't have to have any experience, and it takes you where you want to be. So if you've always wanted to start your own podcast and make money by doing it, go to anchor.fm/start. That's anchor.fm/start. And join me and the diverse community of podcasters already using Anchor That's anchor.fm/start. I can't wait to hear your podcast. All right, so once again, I just want to thank everybody for listening. Please check us out on Facebook. Once again, it's your man Roscoe Squeeze Off, Barbershop Breakdown Sports Edition. Look forward to talking to you soon. Peace. As they say, the barbershop is the cornerstone of the community. We discuss everything under the sun while bringing you that barbershop-style convo in a podcast. It's hosted by myself, Roscoe Squeezeoff, and my co-host, Rich Blackman. Please check us out on our Facebook page at the Barbershop Breakdown Show on Facebook. You can also join our private group from that very page. If you want to text us any of your comments or ideas, you can text us at 754-CALL-BBS. which is also 754-225-5227. We look forward to all your comments, all your ideas. If you have any topics or ideas you'd like to even be on our show, text us, communicate with us on Facebook. We can make it happen. This is the Barbershop Breakdown. You can go to our Facebook page, The Barbershop Breakdown Show. You can also friend us on Facebook by searching for Barbershop Breakdown. You can also go to us on Twitter at Barbershop B Down. And then you can email us barbershopbreakdown@gmail.com.